carefully consider what it is that we're giving up before we decide to completely throw it all away. You have a reality that nobody else has. I guarantee you, no matter how many people watch this video and go through this exercise, nobody has the same reality as you. There's a misalignment between what we expected this work to be when we so passionately signed up, and now our day-to-day reality is not matching with that expectation, and that's when it says, I don't want to do this anymore. There's got to be a way that you can decide whether or not you're doing what you're called to do, and it's not by listening to feedback from other people. And this is the framework that I came up with. Right now, millions of teachers are asking themselves what they're going to be doing next year, and you're probably one of them, right? Because this is the time of year where we're frustrated with so many things, whether it's lack of support from administration, whether it's apathetic students, or it's parents that are disengaged, whatever it is. There's so many stressors that for some of us, it's like, I can't do this anymore. Next year, I'm going to do something else. But I just want to encourage you, before you make a decision to quit your profession, that you should really take some time thinking about it, because you may find yourself in a worse situation, right? Sometimes when we make a knee-jerk reaction, or sometimes when we make a life-altering decision without considering all the different possibilities, we end up in a worse situation. Like maybe you be giving up, the healthcare, right? To go find another job that maybe is hourly and doesn't have it. Or maybe you're the breadwinner and no, this is education. Maybe you are giving up something that you're really passionate about so that you can go find something else just to pay the bills, but then you're not feeling fulfilled on the inside. So I just want to encourage you, before you make a rash decision to quit the profession, that you really, really think about all the different areas. So what we should do is carefully consider what it is that we're giving up before we decide to completely throw it all away. But the reason why we don't do it is because we get caught up more in feelings than in facts. And we're feeling overwhelmed. We're feeling stressed. We're feeling frustrated. We're feeling like I can't do this anymore. And we're saying, I just want to go ahead and do something else. But it is highly encouraged that you don't make decisions, life-altering decisions, when you're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. And some of us are all of those things at the same time. We're hungry because we don't have time on our planet to eat. We're angry because we have lack of support. We're lonely because we feel like we're teaching in isolation. And we're tired because we're burnt out and stressed and overwhelmed. And we're feeling like I just have to go. And I like to think about it like relationships, right? Relationships that don't work out, at their core, fundamentally, they don't work out for the one reason. People cite different ideas, whether finances, infidelity, they cite different reasons, but relationships that don't work out for this one reason, because the expectations did not match the reality. There's a misalignment between expectations and reality, whether it is with faithfulness, whether it is finances and communications. There's a misalignment between expectation and reality. And it's the same thing with a career, especially a teaching career. When we're thinking about going to do something else or leaving this career, is because there's a misalignment between what we expected this work to be when we so passionately signed up. The reason why we got into teaching, our why in the first place. And now our day-to-day reality is not matching with that expectation. And that's when it says, I don't want to do this anymore. But similar to some people who get out of a relationship and look back like, man, I'm in a worse situation than I was. We probably should have worked that out. Like, we probably should try to get it together. We probably should have come together and put in a little bit more effort before we made a decision to quit, before we made a decision to leave the relationship, because now I feel like I'm worse off. That same kind of situation happens when you make a rash decision to quit without first thinking about all the different outcomes, right? But I'll also say, honestly, there are some people who leave that relationship and they look back and say, it's the best decision I ever made. Right? I'm so glad I'm out of that toxic relationship. I'm better now because I made the decision to leave. So I'm not saying that everybody should stay in it, right? I'm saying like there's definitely times in which it's better on the other side of it. But I'll also say that there's some people who are in relationships or in careers that they would be better without it. You know what I mean? All I'm saying is, when expectations are not meeting reality, before just making a rash decision to just jump ship and go do something else, I just want you to carefully consider all the decisions, all the possible outcomes, because I don't want you to be on the other side of it regretting and saying, man, I probably could have held on a little bit longer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through a framework that I created that really helps us match the expectations with our reality, so we can see that if this is something we want to do. This is why I started off the book 99% Human, 1% Amazing. This is chapter 1 of the book. We're going to do a deep dive into this framework that kicks off the book because I really want you to understand how to do this the right way. Before we get to the next point, I just have to let you know that my book, 99% Human, 1% Amazing, right now is free. All you have to do is cover the cost of shipping and I'll get it directly to you. So check the link in the description below. If you're receiving value from this video, you'll probably love the book. So let's dive right into it. First, let me tell you where this framework came from. I started when it was my first year out of the classroom when I created this framework a couple of years ago. And I remember I was an instructional coach and I was in my office and I was doing data. As an instructional coach, my job was to be focused on curriculum, instruction, and assessment, right? So as I was in there, working on data one day, I was taking some student data and I was mashing it among the state standards, and I was seeing how far we were, how close we were, so then I can make some curricular decisions so we can talk about what assessments we needed to use. So I'm sitting behind my desk, sitting at my computer, working on this, and there's a knock on my door, knock, knock, knock. And a teacher comes in and I was like, hey, do you need something? And she was like, no, I just wanted to say it must be nice to be able to sit in your office all day. And that hurt me. Honestly, it hurt me. It made me feel some type of way. I was like, man, if she's saying this, there's probably some other people who are thinking this. So I said, man, I have to do this work. Like I have to sit behind the computer and crunch these numbers and put them in the spreadsheet. I have to do it, but maybe I can just do that at home on my own time because I don't want people to think I'm just in my office, playing solitaire or Minesweeper. We don't do that no more, right? But I don't want people to think I'm just in my office just playing around. So let me get out and get in the hallways. So I started being intentional about getting out. So leaving the work that I had to do, leaving it on the desk, listening to other people, watch this, leaving the work on the desk and then doing it at home, but spending more time getting around the building and just seeing if people needed like bathroom breaks or, seeing if I could help support in the classroom in any way. So I was doing that. And I remember one day I was walking down the hall, walked past a 4th grade classroom, completely different teacher. I just knocked on the door. I was like, hey, do you need anything? Need a bathroom break? You need me to watch a class? Want me to do a read aloud? And then she was like, oh, no, I'm good. I just want to say it must be real nice to be able to just walk around the building all day. And I was like, are you serious right now? Are you serious? So this is where the framework was birthed. I went back to my office and sat and I said, all right, Daryl, you can't just listen to what everybody else has to say, right? You can't just live your life based off what everybody else has to think. There's got to be a way that you can decide whether or not you're doing what you're called to do. And it's not by listening to feedback from other people. And this is the framework that I came up with. Again, it's right in the first chapter 1 of 99% Human, 1% Amazing. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna try to share my screen so I can show you what I'm drawing here. First of all, shout out to all my Android people. Like, this is me. You guys can talk about my green bubbles all you want, but until your phone starts flipping open and closed, come see me. All right, I want to break it down the framework. And we're going to start with a triangle. The triangle, because there's 3 main pillars. Now, the first pillar that I want to talk about is going to be what I call the desire. What is your desire? Or what you like to do. Your desire. What's your desire or what you like to do? Right? So there's definitely things that we all like to do about our job. And when you think about the desire, for me, I like to sit behind my desk sometimes and crunch the numbers. I'm a nerd like that. Like, I geek out sometimes and I sit behind the desk. I like to go outside and play recess or have recess with some of the students, right? I like to be able to walk around and do read alouds and pop into classrooms and talk to students. Like, I like these things. I want you to literally write down, what are some of your desires about your current role? Some of the things that you like to do, right? Think about those and jot them down. After you jot down your desires, I then want you to think about your duties. Now, duties are the things that you absolutely 100% have to do. You have to do these things. Like, this is what is on your contract. These are things that you have to do. Okay? You're contracted to do this. For me, when I was an instructional coach, Again, I was covering curriculum, instruction, and assessment. So there are literally things I had to do. I had to make curricular decisions and purchases. I had to unpack the data, and I had to be able to disseminate that information in staff meetings and talk about the state of the school and where we were in progress to reaching our goals and academically. So these are things I had to do. I literally, remember, I did this for real. This was the framework I created. I literally took out my contract and started highlighting and going through the things that were on my contract. These are the things that I have to do. What do you have to do? Jot those things down. If you want to literally take out your contract as well, do that. What are the things that you have to do? So starting with your desires, what are the things that you like to do? Match it with your duties, what are the things you have to do? So now we have two different columns, right? We have two different lists, your desires, your duties, and watch this. Now I want to talk about your dream. Now this is a biggie. Let me stop writing sloppy. Let me take my time. Your dream, this is what you want to do. Why did you start this work? Why? What is it that caused you to become an educator in the first place? When you said, I'm going to go to school and I'm going to study education, or after I got my degree, I decided to do lateral entry and step into the classroom, there was a reason. Why? What was the reason? What was your dream? What impact did you want to leave? What difference did you want to make? Why did you say, I want to do this thing? For me, the dream I have is I want to help 1 million students be able to live the life that they choose and not the life they're forced to settle for. That drives everything I do. I'm really passionate about that because I hate for people to live a life that they're forced to settle for because they don't have choices. They haven't built skills and they don't have the choice to do something else. So they say, I just have to do this thing. That really pains me when I see it. Whether it's a family member, whether it's somebody I don't know, that really pains me when I see somebody else settling for something. Which is why I want to help students build a strong foundation. I want to help them build as many skills as possible so that they can create choices for themselves so they can live the life they choose, not the life they're forced to settle for. That drives everything I do. What drives what you do? What's your dream? Your dream outcome. All right, so now that you have those 3 things written down, you can pause the video if you need to. Make sure you come back though. Your duties, your desires, and your dream. Or should I say your desires, your duties, your dream. That's what's surrounding your triangle, right? What you like to do, what you have to do, and what you want to do. And I really sat down with this thing and I looked at it and I said, you know what? At the intersection of my desires, my duty, and my dream, right there in the middle, that is my reality. That is what I get to do. I get to do this every day. I get to sit behind my desk sometimes and crunch the numbers to make curricular decisions so that we can get curriculum in this building that helps students grow academically so that they can live the life that they choose and not the life they're forced to settle for. And I get to go outside and have recess with them every now and then. I get to do this every day. So when I looked at the things that I like to do, I have to do, and I want to do, I realized, I get to do this. Yes, it's tough. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it's something that every single day is not always the easiest thing, right? There's definitely times that are challenging. There's definitely times I want to give up. There's definitely times where people are talking about me, right? But now that I have this framework, when I look at it and I say, this is what I get to do, the next time somebody came to me, they're like, man, it must be nice for you to be able to, I say, it is. It is nice, and keep working hard. You can do it too. All right, because I get to do this. I love this. I worked hard to get to this point, and I'm glad that I am walking in my purpose and doing the things I get to do. Do I have frustrations? Absolutely. But am I grateful to do what I get to do? Of course. And I just want to encourage you as well. I want to encourage you to let you know that you also have the opportunity to do this amazing work. This is your reality. This is what you get to do. What you wrote down on that paper, you have a reality that nobody else has. I guarantee you, no matter how many people watch this video and go through this exercise, nobody has the same reality as you. Some people may have the same duties as you. Some people may have similar desires as you. Some people may have a similar dream as you, but nobody has all 3 because you are uniquely made and you are the only one that has your unique reality. And because you're the only one that has your unique reality, you're making the difference that only you can make. Like there's some students that are reading right now because you walked in your reality. Right? There's some students that made a decision to show up again tomorrow, to remain alive, to show up here on this earth again tomorrow because you doing what you get to do. Like you're making a difference in people's lives. We don't always get to see how the seeds that we plant grow. We don't. But we have to trust that the seeds that we are planting are making a difference, not only just in the lives of the students that we directly touch, but the lives that they then touch. Like we're making such a huge and massive impact. Is it frustrating? Absolutely. But I need you to understand that you are strong enough to withstand the frustrations, that you are smart enough to think through different situations to understand how to overcome those obstacles. I say this all the time, and I'm gonna say it right here, right now for you. You're smarter than you think. You're braver than you seem. You're stronger than you feel. And you can do hard things. This is hard work. It's not easy. It never has been. It's never going to be. But I guarantee you that you are the one that can do it. If it is possible, believe that you are capable. But I also want to say that not all pain is meant to be endured. So as a matter of fact, if you are listening through this thing and you're like, that reality does not entice me, I'm not excited by that, right? It's possible that this may not be for you anymore. And it's really possible. As a matter of fact, I'll link a video at the end where I talk through more the quitting contract, how to decide whether to stick or whether to quit, what questions to ask yourself before you sign your resignation letter, before you turn that thing in. So you can watch that video right after this one. But right now, I'm talking to that person that heard that and felt that thing in their spirit. And they was like, man, listen, you're right. I'm called to do this. I get to do this. Yes, there are frustrations that happen all the time, but I love what I'm able to do when I'm able to do it. And those are the people who I'm trying to help. That was just chapter 1 of the book. That was just chapter 1. There are 23 other chapters in which we do deep dives so I can help you understand best practices so that you can make immense impact. When you go through the chapters in this book, you get to learn best practices so you can make the difference that only you can make. Okay? So what I want you to do now is the Pursue Excellence moment. I want you to comment down below. What are the major stressors that are pulling you away from your reality? Because what I want to be able to do is help give you some guidance around those stressors, how to circumvent those stressors, go around those stressors so that you're just left to be able to make your impact. All right? Let's make that happen. In the next video, we're going to talk about how to set a vision so that your class stays on the right track. So in the meantime, check out that video again if you're thinking of quitting, but also check out the rest of the videos in this playlist if you want to learn more about 99% human, 1% amazing, and I'll see you in the next one.